On March 30th, 2009, our third son was born, and on the evening of his birth, we received an unexpected diagnosis. Our son Vaughn was born with Down syndrome. When he was born, he was kind of struggling a little bit to breathe, and so they had whisked him away pretty quickly to the special care nursery. And about an hour after his birth, our OBGYN came back into our room and shared his suspicion that Vaughn was born with Down syndrome with my husband and I. Of course, since I had only seen him for just a few minutes, this was extremely shocking and not the kind of news a new mother would want to hear from her OBGYN. And I remember saying to him, I thought that only old people had kids born with Down syndrome. I was only 33 at the time that Vaughn was born. And he quickly shared some statistics with me that I don't even remember them, but I do remember him sharing them with me. And then I asked him a question about when this happened. I think if I would have been honest, I would have wanted to ask him, what did I do to make this happen? And he shared something with me that really did not resonate with me until a few days after Vaughn was born. But he said, I believe that this was decided before you were born. In the days that followed Vaughn's birth, we received numerous phone calls, cards, gifts, text messages, and many of them had a familiar verse on them. And it's Psalm 139:13, and it says, I praise you because I'm fearfully and wonderfully made. And that verse, while it was comforting at the time, it was also very confusing for a grieving mother that really was not expecting this news. So one evening in my grief and just desire to understand the why of this diagnosis, I began to read that verse over and over and over again. And as I was reading it and almost crying out, like, what would be so wonderful? How can I praise you for a child that is going to struggle to just learn and develop like a typical child would? And as I began to read through that, for some reason, I inserted my own name into that verse. And when I got down to verse 16, it says, when Kelly was woven together in the depths of the earth, your eyes saw her unformed body. All the days ordained for Kelly were written in your book before one of them came to be. And it was in reading that over and over with my name in it, I remembered what my OBGYN had said. And I realized that this was God's plan for me long before I even came to be. And that I was fearfully and wonderfully made to be the perfect mama to Vaughn. And through that, I began to overcome some of the grief and the questioning that I had due to that unexpected diagnosis. So this verse really has become my mantra for being Vaughn's mama. There are struggles when you have a child that's born with a disability. There are learning difficulties. There are so many ways that you need to advocate for your child. And some days it's hard and sometimes it's exhausting and you don't want to do it. And I go back to this verse over and over again, reminding myself that I was created for this moment. Not just when Vaughn was born to overcome that grief, but in any of the struggles that I may have or experience with him or my older two boys. Because I've come to realize as a mama with three boys, everybody has their own problems and their own struggles and their own learning challenges or friend issues. There's so many different things that all children experience. And this has been a verse that in those times when I just feel like I don't even know what to say, I know that this circumstance is not a surprise to God, nor is it something that He wants me to be afraid of. He wants me to know that He created me wonderfully for this moment. And I use this verse a lot with my children when they're struggling, but it has truly, because I inserted my name into His word, I have overcome grief and I've overcome fear of just advocating and being the kind of mama that my boys need me to be.